In this video, I want to talk about the health benefits of oats and make two easy recipes using two different types of oats. There are three main types of oats: traditional, also called rolled oats or old-fashioned oats, steel-cut oats, and instant or quick oats. Traditional oats, often called rolled oats, are softened by steam and then flattened by rollers to form flakes. Steel-cut oats are oats cut by steel blades into small pieces without being flattened. Quick cooking or instant or 1-minute oats are similar to rolled oats in terms of being softened by steam, flattened, and cut into progressively smaller pieces, so they're much easier or quicker to cook. Both steel-cut and rolled oats take longer to digest and are slow to increase a person's blood sugar. Therefore, they're classified as being low in glycemic index, the amount of time it takes to raise blood sugar after consuming a carbohydrate food. All forms of oats, traditional, steel-cut, and instant oats, contain the same nutrition in terms of carbohydrate, protein, fiber, vitamins, and minerals. I want to focus a little bit on the fiber that is present in oats and how beneficial that is for us. There are three types of fiber in carbohydrate foods: soluble, insoluble, and what's called fermentable fiber. Soluble fiber dissolves in water and forms a gel-like substance in the stomach. These fibers can lower LDL cholesterol, known as the bad type of cholesterol, and reduce blood sugar surges after meals by slowing down the absorption of carbohydrates. Foods containing this type of fiber are good for those with high cholesterol and diabetes. But also, when soluble fiber mixes with water in our body, becomes this gel-like consistency, it slows down digestion. This can help people feel fuller longer and keep extra pounds at bay. Maintaining a healthy weight is one of the most important things you can do to reduce your risk of cancer, including breast cancer. Fermentable fibers are those that feed good bacteria in the gut. And these good bacteria produce compounds such as butyrate, which has shown cancer protective effects in the colon. And insoluble fiber are also considered bulking fibers. These aren't digested or absorbed and create larger, softer stools and speed the passage of waste through the digestive tract. And this dilutes the exposure to potential carcinogens in the colon. It can also help prevent or relieve constipation. Most plant foods contain more than one type of fiber, just in varying amounts. Oats, for example, are very high in soluble fiber. I want to do two recipes today, one using traditional oats, also called old-fashioned oats, and then one using steel-cut oats. For the first recipe, I'm using the traditional or old-fashioned or rolled oats to make an easy granola bar. I've got 3½ cups of old-fashioned, rolled, or traditional oats, however you refer to them, and I've toasted them in the oven at 350 degrees for about 10 minutes. This is just to give the granola bars a little texture. We're not going to bake them after we assemble them together, but it just kind of dries the oats out a little more so they have a little more chew to them. The other ingredients in this granola bar are a cup of peanut butter, or you could use almond butter or any nut butter, a ½ cup of honey, a good pinch of salt, and ½ teaspoon of cinnamon. I'm going to mix this up a little bit and then do the rest of the add-in. So I've got it mainly mixed up, and then I'm just going to add about a cup of mixins, and I'm doing dried cranberries and pumpkin seeds. But you could do really any kind of nut, any kind of dried fruit if you like raisins, if you could do mini chocolate chips if you like that, sunflower seeds, pecans, peanuts even. I just love the combination of pumpkin seeds and cranberries. So mix this in. I'm just going to put this into a 9x9 pan that has been lined with parchment paper, or partially lined with parchment paper here. It just makes it a little bit easier to come out. So I'm going to set this in the freezer for about 10 minutes just to get a little firmer, and then I can lift it out through the parchment paper and cut it into squares or bars. I like to have these even as a breakfast. I'll take it with me to work and have with a cup of coffee, or have it as an afternoon snack before going for a walk or going to exercise. So it's a great way to get, again, the health benefits of oats. You're getting some protein and some healthy fat from the peanut butter, any mix-ins you might have. Some other things you could mix in which would be great are things like ground flax seed or chia seeds, and those would actually add some more soluble fiber to this dish. So I'll get this in the freezer for a few minutes while I make the other recipe. Our other recipe is not so much a recipe as it is a way of cooking steel-cut oats. If you look at the back of the container of steel-cut oats in terms of preparation, it takes about 30 minutes to cook, which may be a long time in terms of waiting on your breakfast. But what I wanted to show you is a way to have overnight steel-cut oats. Now typically with overnight oats, if you're using old-fashioned rolled oats, you could just add the liquid to the oats, refrigerate it overnight, and those flakes would absorb that liquid. But because steel-cut oats are just cut by those steel blades, they're not steamed, they're not flattened, they wouldn't absorb that liquid unless you have some heat added to it. So what we're going to do is add the liquid to the oats, bring it to a boil, a low boil for about 2 minutes on the stove, and then set it to the back and let that sit overnight. And then in the morning you can heat it up, you can eat it room temperature, you can keep it in the refrigerator and eat it cold. It's a way to get those steel-cut oats in that form without sitting there stirring on the stove for about 30 minutes. So I've got here in this pan 2 cups of water, and I'm going to add about 2 cups of milk to that. You could use all water, you could use all milk. It just depends on your preference. And I actually have a little shy of 2 cups of milk simply because I like the oats to be very kind of thick and creamy. So I've got about 1 3/4 cups of milk added to my 2 cups of water, and a cup of steel-cut oats. And add to that a pinch of salt. So we're just going to set this on the stove and bring it to a low boil for about 2 minutes, stirring it occasionally while we do it, especially when it's boiling because it tends to rise when it's boiling. And then cover it and set it to the back of the stove. Leave that overnight. You don't have to refrigerate it. If you're going to keep it longer, keep it a couple days, yes, you refrigerate it after that point, but just overnight, just keep it covered. And then in the morning, you can just, again, heat it up in the microwave or heat it up on the stove, eat it room temperature, however you like. So let me get this going. So here we have our overnight steel-cut oats. I made this batch earlier, and I like to add some chopped apple and sprinkle a little cinnamon on top. And our granola bars using traditional or old-fashioned oats. I hope you give these recipes a try.